Are you tired of cheap plastic pathway lights that barely last a season? It's time to upgrade your outdoor space with something that's going to last. Some heavy-duty pathway lights. Today I'm going to show you how to build this. I'll take it from the CAD, 3D printing some molds, casting concrete, nice paint job. Let's take this step by step and I'll show you all the way. Welcome back to Timber West Design, where we talk timber, shade structures, and outdoor living. Here are the supplies you're going to need for this project. Simmental cement mix, a bucket to mix it in, another vessel for the water. You'll need a scale to weigh that. It's a 4:1 ratio of Simmental to water. You'll need a drill mixer, some way to mix that concrete. Spatula's nice. The light source I'm going to use is this puck light. I got this on Amazon. I'll have links to everything on the about page. Hot glued it. You could probably double stick tape it, but in this case I'm going to use the hot glue. From there we need primer. We're going to need some paint, sandpaper, and some spot putty. That should get us started. So I created this shape to make this concrete light out of, and it's going to be about 15 inches tall, about 5 inches wide. This is taller than I can print in my 3D printer, so I have to slice this in half, top and bottom. So here's the top section. We have an inside and an outside mold. The middle is going to be the concrete. And here's the bottom. Again, an inside and an outside. The middle is the concrete, and it'll pour upside down, so that's the surface that'll get poured into. Now we're going to send it to the 3D printer. Watching the 3D printer in action is always fascinating. It layers the design with incredible precision, turning a digital concept into a physical object. So the molds are hot off the press from the 3D printer. So before we put this thing together, I want to put mold release on each part. What I like to do is spray inside a box to kind of contain the spray a little bit. We're going to use some canola oil spray, and it's just a light coat, nothing too crazy. Okay, it's time to put this thing together. So this mold's a little more complicated than most of my other molds, but it's put together. So it's time to snug up the bolts. We don't want to tighten too much, just good and snug. We want to minimize any leak through any of the gaps, but this should do just fine. I added these legs to this curve so it would stand up straight and level. So now we're ready to pour. So in order to calculate the volume of cement you're going to need, I put this on a scale, I pour it full of water, we'll see how much the water weighs, and then we make some calculations. So in this case, I had 3,410 grams in weight of water. We're going to times that by 1.9, which is 6,479. That's my concrete, my Simmental concrete. And then we're going to go 25% of the concrete amount, which is 1,619 grams of water. So this is a fairly big mix. It's about 14 pounds. We're going to mix it outside. I do not want to breathe the dust in here, and we'll be back to pour it. So when you pour the water in, I typically pour in most of it, not all of it, maybe 3/4 to start with. We want to go more by consistency, and I want a pancake batter consistency. And this is going to be quite a mix, so you want to make sure with your drill mixer that you're getting all the sides, all the corners, all the bottom, everything. So the lumps are pretty much all out, and it's pretty much the consistency I want. So I'm not going to add any more water, and I think we're ready to go. Let's pour this thing. Here we go. This is going to be fun. I want to pour this in slowly. Hopefully don't trap any air pockets. And we're just about full. You want it right to the edge. That's just about perfect right there. Awesome. Okay, so I want to just kind of lightly tap this, and any air bubbles that are in there, we just want to get those worked out. Another thing you can do, you could take a sander like this, and you can vibrate it for a few minutes. A big project like this, it's kind of nice to not to have air pockets. So I like to let these sit at least 3 hours before we demold. So we'll see you back then. It's been a few hours. Let's take this thing apart. I'm really anxious to see what this is going to look like. All the bolts are off. Let's see what this thing's going to look like. I don't have draft on the sides here, so these are going to Just gonna have to work these off. There we go, there's that section. That looks good so far. Let's do this part right here. It's getting a little stubborn. We'll get it off though. There we go. That part's off, and then just got this last section. There we go. That took a little doing, but turned out really good. So we want to get this parting line smoothed up. I can use sandpaper. You can use a block if you want. That knocks it down nicely. I have this little sanding tool that works quite well. Just grind it like that. It's just a little sander, a little handheld sander. So whatever you have handy, they're all gonna work. But the bottom line is to just get everything so it feels nice and smooth before we prime it. So I'm all primed up. There's a few flaws still, so I'm gonna take some spot putty. I like to put it on with the glove, a little bit on the finger, and then just kind of, you can just work it into the areas that need a little bit of touch up. What I'm gonna do is let that dry, sand it, and then I'll do one more prime, and we'll get to that point, and then I'll show you the next step. So our part is primed for the second time. Now here's a little trick I'm going to show you. I take some flat black paint and I do just a light fog, something like that, and that's going to be what's called a guide coat. I'm going to give that just a minute to dry, and then we're going to sand. I'll show you how this works. So the guide coat helps guide the sanding process. So when we sand, the low spots stay dark, so you can easily see where you are on your sanding. And you can either just sand until that low spot is out, or you could putty it again. But we're gonna sand this whole thing now until it's suitable for painting, and we'll see you on the next step. I just finished the paint job on this. I used the Rust-Oleum matte hammered black. These turned out so good. I'm so happy with this project. So it's time to put some lights in it. I'm gonna show you what to do next. So I have these great puck lights we're gonna put into the pocket here. When you open these up, they take 3 AA batteries. I like to use rechargeable batteries, and I'm going to use my favorite battery, Pale Blue Batteries, who just happened to be the sponsor of this week's video. What I love about these batteries is they have a USB port right on the battery. You can charge them up on the go. You don't need a wall charger. Save money, save time, get some Pale Blue batteries. Since this puck light has a removable back, I'm just gonna hot glue this directly into this pocket, and then when I need to access the batteries, I can just unscrew the front and that'll just come right off. So I'm just gonna put a couple of dabs of glue on there, set that in, center it, and just hold it for a couple seconds till that sets up. That looks good. Okay, we'll do the other one. Just a few seconds and these things should be set enough. I think we're good. Awesome. So I turned off the studio lights so you can see this a little bit better, but this is going to give just a nice accent light for the sides of your walkway outside. You also have this little remote, so you can change the color if you want. There's some accent lighting. There's some blue, there's red, green. This is just a fun little project. These lights also can just cycle through the different colors. That's kind of fun. If you like this project and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. That'd be awesome too. We'll see you next time.